everyone. Welcome to episode number 26 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Gage, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
Man, I'm always good. I'm always good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So, for anyone new here, the three pillars of StreamYard are ease of use, stability, and making sure your streams look nice, professional-looking streams. So if you're about those three pillars, StreamYard is probably the tool for you. And we do these town halls every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific to make sure we're using the product and answering your questions and just staying in tune with you guys. So thank you all for joining us. Happy Independence Day for all you Americans out there. Hope you guys had a nice July 4th weekend, or Canada Day if you're Canadian.
Yeah.
Michael, thanks for joining us. Dave, nice to see you here. Dale, thanks for joining us. Hey, Jeff Adams, nice to see you. The first topic, I wanted to say thanks to you, Dave, Coach Dave, for making that nice tutorial video this week. For anyone that didn't catch it, it's really helpful if you are on a Windows machine and are looking to split the screen so you can do screen sharing easily from a single monitor. So really appreciate that, Dave. And then Rob made a helpful tutorial this week as well for multi-streaming, so thank you to both of you. Another note is Hangouts on Air is going away, sadly, it's been around for a really long time, so it's too bad that Google, it's one of the many Google products that they've decided to bury.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what it is, just because I'm sure?
Yeah, it's not so different from StreamYard in many ways. It's basically StreamYard specifically for Google that's been around a long time. It didn't start like that. It was originally launched with Google Plus, I believe, for meetings, and it was popular enough that they sort of branched it out to its own thing called Hangouts on Air, which was actually marketed sort of towards celebrities that wanted to go live to a big audience and sort of do Q&A type stuff. And then I think it was in 2016, people were sort of scared that it was going to go away, but they actually merged it into YouTube. It was on YouTube for a couple of years. And then now it is actually going away August 1st. But more specifically, it was pretty similar to StreamYard, where you could schedule an event, bring guests into the stream with a unique guest link, share your screen, and do things like that. But now it's just the only option now is just the YouTube webcam feature. And we actually ran a poll in the group, and I was really surprised by, let me get rid of this banner here, by the spread of answers. We got over 100 votes, so thanks to everyone who participated in it. But way more people had actually used it than I expected. Over half of our, not half of our audience, but half of the people that voted had actually used it, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, wow.
Our next topic was StreamYard community rules. The group's grown quite a bit, so we just wanted to touch on this really briefly. We really appreciate all the participation and posts, but we just wanted to remind everyone of the live streaming rule, because we want to make sure that it's a super valuable group for everyone and there's not too much like random noise. We want to make sure that when people are getting pinged that it's useful information. So we do have a weekly thread for sharing that Linda posts, so that's where we encourage people to share their streams. And if you do share a stream, make sure that you're sharing it for a very specific reason. Give a background to why you're sharing it, and it should be like maybe you hit a milestone of 100 streams or something happened during the stream that was significant, but should be specifically for that group. Also, if we're considering making a separate group just for sharing streams, so if you guys have an opinion on how you'd like that to look, I'd be curious to hear it, so let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, just again, like reiterate what you just said about, we want to allow people to share pretty much whatever they want to share and be open, but at the same time, we're trying to make it the best group, the most useful group physically possible. So when we have like tons of people just posting, you know, every now and then we get videos that have nothing to do with StreamYard or stuff. Or
it's not been too bad lately. It's just, we're just remote.
It is getting better. Yeah, I think people are kind of, everyone watches what other people do, right? So if you see what everyone else is posting, then people post similar stuff. So it's doing pretty good.
Lots of comments here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Beauty Bubble, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by, Eddie. If you guys have any subjects you want us to cover, make sure you just let us know in the comments. Jennifer reminding us of Google Wave. Do you know what Google Wave was, Dan?
Google Wave.
I don't know if I know what that was. I thought it was
I'm looking this up real quick. Google Wave.
trivia. Who was in the first ever Hangout on air as a guest? I do not know that either. I know that there was some very famous people on it. I know, I think Brad Pitt was on it, and Obama was on it, and Tiger Woods was on it, but I don't know who the first guest was.
Interesting.
Did you look at what Google Wave was?
It looks like it was just like an older Hangouts. Like all the dates are like 2009, 2010.
They make like a new meeting or a new messaging app every 2 years, and then like rebrand it every 2 years.
Because now it's Google Meet, right? And it's just for meetings.
It's really confusing. There's still enterprise Hangouts. So like if you're like a G Suite customer, you still kind of have Hangouts, but it's just for the meetings. You should do your own independent research. It's confusing to me. I don't know exactly.
Google's quite an interesting place, right? Like in general, it's just so large, and they make so much money from their ads that when they're building products, if it doesn't reach massive, massive scale.
Yeah, and for them, that's not like 1 million people. It's like 100 million people.
Yeah,
maybe 10 million people. I wonder how many people use like Gmail. Is it like 1 billion? I wonder how many people.
Yeah, probably over 1 billion.
That's wild.
Maybe. Yeah. So I'd be curious actually with Hangouts, because it was quite a different product. Like you said, it was for the same purpose. It was for streaming live to YouTube. So similar to StreamYard, but they look very different in what they allow you to do. So, but I would be curious if anyone that used to use Hangouts, there's anything specifically from Hangouts that you'd like to see StreamYard add?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there anything that you'll miss from Hangouts that we don't have? I know one thing is they used to allow 10 people on screen. That's come up a few times, so some people might like to see that. And Diana, to answer your question, no, you won't have any issues. You don't have to download StreamYard. StreamYard just works right in Chrome, so you just go to StreamYard.com in Chrome, and you're good to go. You don't have to download anything. You won't have any issues. Don's in too many groups. I'm probably in too many groups these days as well.
Yeah, can get noisy.
StreamYard Streams, name of the group. Absolutely. Chuck used to use Hangouts. Roy saying that Google Wave was not a fan of Google Wave. It
was like live video or communication with video on the internet was kind of just getting started around that time.
It was a very ambitious project. I remember, I didn't spend much time on it, but I remember it just blew my mind that was even possible, the scale that they were doing meetings at. Not Hangouts.
There's your answer.
Yeah, I am. Very cool.
Well, I am. Interesting. Don't think I ever would have gotten that.
Would there be a way, perhaps in the future, to be able to name the overlays we bring in? Oh, as a way to like organize them in the tab? It's certainly possible. I do see the need for it, because if you have a lot of them, it does get a bit confusing. So that's certainly possible. Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, and reorganize them as well, I would guess.
Yeah, moving around would probably be nice. Christina, thanks for joining us. How does StreamYard work with Chrome? You just go. It's just like a web app, right? You just go to the website, so StreamYard.com, and then you log in, and it'll tell you what to do on screen, and should be fairly straightforward. We have tutorials as well. Let's see here. Let's go to the next topic. Oh yeah, one change this week is the website should be a bit faster now. We made some speed improvements, so when you first go to your dashboard, it'll load a bit quicker. Not too exciting, but it's still a nice improvement to have.
Yeah, we're kind of, just to answer that, or to follow up on that, we're usually every week, if you guys have seen some of the older ones, we're releasing all kinds of new things. And for the last couple of weeks, we haven't been doing as much. And that's just because we're kind of like grouping everything.
We got a big summer release coming, so our hands are sort of down on that. You're still going to see some stuff coming along as we lead up to that, but there's going to be one major release that we're doing where a lot of our work is, or a lot of our time spent is going into that right now. We're still working on this feature we're calling HD audio, which will make it nicer for if you've got headphones, or especially if you're like a podcaster or someone like that, where you have guests that are sort of familiar with their audio setup, you'll be able to toggle this HD audio option. And one nice feature of that is if two people are at the same time, talking at the same time, you may have noticed that it sort of has this battle of who's talking louder. If you have this toggled, it will be mixed nicely. So you'll be able to hear both people talking at the same time, and it will just sound better.
Yeah.
One topic I had for you guys is recording has come up more frequently as a feature that people want to see, especially since there's been occasionally issues happen on the destinations platform. So it would be nice to always have a backup. So I was curious, in an ideal world, what this would look like for you guys. One way that I know I would like to do it is by exporting it straight to Google Drive. So I'm sort of curious if that would be an okay solution for people, if basically we keep it around for 24 hours and you'd have the option to export it to Google Drive, if that would work well for the recordings.
Yeah, so basically you hook up your Google Drive, and then when you go live to Facebook, it also saves it into Google Drive. And then if Facebook has a problem and your stream gets, like, usually Facebook's able to recover from the problems. Like, we've had people that it seems like their recording's gone on Facebook for a bit, but then if we message them and tell Facebook about it, they'll eventually get it back. But
yeah,
you never know, right? Facebook, more than any, does have some problems. So if you can also record it somewhere else, you won't lose it.
Don asks if there's any truth to StreamYard live streams not getting the same audience reach as native streams. So I've heard this rumor before. It's not about StreamYard streams. It's like whether you're using third party versus the native tool, like OBS, it would be the same difference. And I don't know, like, Facebook says there's no difference. It seems like it depends on the channel almost. Like, I've seen people that constantly use OBS that get high numbers that will try using mobile and will see a dip, and also vice versa. It seems like it's more the other way. Like, Facebook does sometimes seem to prioritize mobile, but in the testing I've done, it seems like just an initial boost. The first time you use mobile, they'll give you a big boost. So I don't know. It's a very fuzzy area, but if you regularly live stream and have a high quality show, you get an audience that way. Like, we have users that regularly get hundreds of viewers using StreamYard. So it's not, if you build up the audience organically, it doesn't really have too much of an effect, I don't think. And officially, no, but it does come up a lot. So I assume some people have noticed that there's a difference when you go live straight from the phone.
Yeah, it does seem to be channel specific, like you said. Like, we have noticed even some people go live on, like, they'll be doing the native tool on Facebook, and they go live on StreamYard, and that's like their biggest stream by a fair margin. And it might just be that the content is different, or
the opposite too. I don't know. It's like, I've seen the opposite too, where someone uses their phone all the time and they switch, and then it's like a huge dip, and they message me like, why did I see a dip? And then they continue going live, and then they see the same. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't work for Facebook.
Yeah. And to be honest, they might not know how it works. Like, a lot of that is AI controlling it, right?
Yeah, I hope someone has some.
Somebody's built the AI, but yeah, usually that's kind of the whole thing about AI. It's like, it's optimized to make everything work the best, and you can't look at it; it just works.
Michael's a fan of 10 people on screen. Dawn will think about that. She used Hangouts quite a bit. Right on. Jenny, nice to see you here. Can you use StreamYard before you delete Hangout? Yeah, you don't. They're not like one or the other. You can use StreamYard anytime. Dawn says overwhelming. Hopefully, I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Hopefully, it wasn't about my explanation. I did go into quite a bit of detail. Also in Hangouts, we had noise canceling. So you should actually have. We don't have that sort of ties into the HD audio stuff. We do actually have noise canceling. It's just automatically on, and the HD audio thing will basically give you the option to turn it off. And he says yes for organizational purposes. Roy says he'll miss the full screen focus on the person speaking and the 10-person film strip below about Hangouts. Yeah, like I don't know if Hangouts is the one that called it this, but I've heard it called like the auto director mode. So who is ever talking just gets full screen. I can see how that would be nice if you just don't really want to worry about doing like this type of stuff and want it to just happen automatically.
Yeah.
Don asks how to add an outro vid. So it'd be the same thing as an intro vid, basically. So if you go to branding, if you're in the StreamYard studio and you go to brand, in the overlay section, you can upload videos. and the videos play whenever you click them. So if it's an intro, you just click it at the beginning of the stream. If it's an outro, you just click it at the end of the stream. And usually what I'll do to make sure I don't mistime it, I'll show you really quick. I will, at the beginning of the stream, I'll throw up like a screen like this and start the stream and let it start and then play the video so that there's no, so it doesn't start in the middle of the video. At the end, I will often do the same thing where I put up the overlay, play the video, wait for the video to end, and then the stream ends with an overlay. And that way it sort of looks smooth and professional. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Michael says in Hangouts, we had the ability to put one person on screen. As far, like, I must be missing part of the question because I would assume it would be the same thing as
Maybe
one person.
Yeah, I'm not sure with that one. Michael can clarify.
Yeah, Michael, why don't you let us know exactly? I didn't actually use, it's ages that I've used Hangouts, so I'm not actually sure. A long time ago, Hangouts had fun things like sound effects. Sound effects would be cool. I didn't actually know that. Sometimes miss those, but StreamYard is already much better than HOA. We appreciate that. Sound effects would be a fun thing, though. I actually had no idea they had that. Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, Eddie did a 4.5-hour virtual summit, which I participated in. It was a really nice summit. So if you guys, I think it's in Eddie's group, the DMCA Digital Media Creator Academy group. So check out that stream because it's a cool example if you're thinking of doing something like that. Eddie did a great job organizing it. I'd be curious what are the best tools for doing that type of stuff. I've heard of some people using Calendly for organizing. Like if you have a show where you regularly have guests, sort of organize things.
Yeah, Calendly would probably be pretty good.
Beauty says, Eddie, I'm on my 3rd watch party for the summit. The guest lineup was just stellar. Wow, you're dedicated. Full 12 hours of watch time.
Right on.
Jill says, how's the back of your screen blue/green? Is that just the uploaded background option? Yeah, I just uploaded. I actually got this idea from, if she's still watching, Jenny, which I thought was awesome. She just had like an orange background. I was shocked how good it looked. So I stole that idea and just uploaded my own solid background. So yeah, if I get rid of it, it's black, and then this is the default background.
It's quite a difference. Like just when you turn that off, it's like, oh, yeah.
Like, you shut the lights off. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan because it's like the gradient is so simple, but it really makes your stream kind of stand out, especially if you're scrolling through Facebook or something and, whoa, what is that?
Yeah, I think I have the names off right now, but it can go well with the names as well. If you have the display names, if you choose a color that's slightly off color, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Craft Jack, yes. So if you and your guests have a good audio setup, you'll notice a significant difference because you'll be able to disable all of that fancy. It's great. I mean, it's really good to have if your guest doesn't have a headset so that you don't get crazy reverb. But if everyone knows what they're doing, it's nice to be able to turn it off.
Yeah.
April says you can create a solid background like they did using Canva. Yep, absolutely. Google Slides works pretty good for that as well. I think I just actually downloaded this as an image, but yeah, all great options.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So if you just go to like a website that says like, I wouldn't say backgrounds, but just linear gradient colors or something.
Yeah, I think if you just Google linear gradient download, you'll find like a nice website that has lots of basically what I have here.
Yeah, and then when you upload it on StreamYard, we'll trim the background to the right aspect ratio so it'll fit nicely and everything. That's fairly simple.
So varying opinions on the downloads. Michael is a fan of things the way they are, but would be okay with the Google Drive option. Jenny would like to have a backup recording. Jill says, yep, the ability to export would be awesome. You guys have lots of comments tonight. I agree with this cool feature to full screen your friend even if they weren't speaking. Also in Hangouts, we have the ability to put one person on screen. I'm still missing something there. I'll have to look up what the feature was. I'm not fully following what one person on screen means. Christina likes the idea of automatically recording to Drive. We don't have Twitch right now, Diana. Right now it's Periscope, Facebook, YouTube and Restream. But we are working on more platforms, and we have a really exciting one coming within the next few weeks or so. So look out for that.
Yeah, and that you can still, it's not the best option, but you can still go to Twitch either through Restream.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, or you can use what we call just like a custom RTMP. In other words, like if you go to Twitch, you'd have to look up how to grab this, but you can get your stream key, and then you can put that into StreamYard, and we'll stream it for you.
I mentioned that she had used OBS. So StreamYard has all these direct integrations, but there is always the option, if you just want to do things manually, to make it work just like OBS, where you create a custom destination and put in a key and a URL, and that'll allow you to go wherever, anywhere. Obviously, you won't get the comments, but you can send the stream wherever you want.
Yeah. So you can stream to Twitch. You just won't get the comments if you do that. Restream, you will get the comments, but then you have to go through Restream and sign up with Restream and all that.
Yep, that's how Beauty does things. Michael does his game shows, which are awesome, on Friday night, and I believe he does that using Restream to go to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. StreamYard isn't really designed for gaming right now. I have seen some people do it using OBS in combination with StreamYard and bring it in as a virtual webcam, but we're much more focused on sort of talk shows and bringing guests on. So if you are going to do gaming stuff, you probably want to use something like OBS in combination with it. Groups are overwhelming. It can be a little bit.
That is overwhelming. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
That's funny.
Diana, well, that could work if you used like an app like Reflector, or another one that's popular is, I think, called Air Server. Is that right, Dan?
I'm not sure. I use Reflector.
Well, there's ways to mirror your phone to your screen. So if you wanted to do something like that, you could use an app like Reflector to mirror your phone to your screen and then screen share it. But if you're really into gaming stuff, OBS might be the way to go for that. I'm not very familiar with phone gaming though, so it might work well. I'm not actually sure. Northern Ohio Railroad action. Hey everyone, I just started using StreamYard and I love it. It's much easier than Hangouts and it's less complicated. Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, right on.
Michael says, what I like to do after my game shows is invite folks in from the audience. This is one reason why I would like more folks to come in after the party, so I can increase the limit from 10. You can see that.
Fair enough.
Beauty reminding people to join the group. Yep, absolutely. We have a nice Facebook community group. If you guys aren't part of that, make sure you join. I'm fairly active in that group, answering questions and things like that. It's a great community to meet people that use StreamYard.
Yeah, you find a lot of people, like, I mean, a lot of them have been on this broadcast too, like Dave and all sorts of people are posting really useful things that we're not even thinking of, right? That is like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And so there's tons of useful stuff.
Just from community members, which we really appreciate. Yeah, from Dave, Graham made a really good one about restreaming, some green screen tutorials. It's great. Dean, I don't have a hard date for you on that, but it's on our radar. I'd like to see you changing the screens to have options like a stinger or set the fade speed. Okay, so it's like more animation options. Fair enough. Jill, yes, right now it is 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's mostly just for short clips.
Feature. At some point, we will add the ability to, like, of course, right now, if you do want to do something longer, there's always the option to screen share it and share it with audio if it has audio. But we do have plans to have an option for longer form clips, which at some point we will get out. Don's a fan of audience laughter, applause, and other sound effects. Yeah, those would be cool to have. What image size for the background image? Overlays and backgrounds are both 1280 by 720. Amber, this request comes up a lot, a green screen feature. It's possible for us to do. Again, I don't have a date for you. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming up in this summer release. That won't be part of it, but it is. Anything's possible. We at some point maybe, who knows. Love the ability to move the banner and chat below the videos, especially with 3 folks. The guest is covered up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, especially with the larger comments. That can be a problem.
Yeah, we're trying to think of the best way to handle that one, actually.
April, I know a lot of people have asked about replacing the silhouette with profile photos when going audio only. Is that on the roadmap? Yes, it's also on the roadmap. It's a big roadmap. That one's easier to add than a lot of the other things being requested.
Yep.
It is on the roadmap. Can we add our phones as a source to screen share? I've been using Visor to open my phone and share that application. I'm not familiar with Visor, but you can, if you have some sort of software to mirror your phone to the computer, like what we talked about earlier briefly, like Reflector or Air Server or something like that, you can use the phone as a screen share and demonstrate using the phone on stream.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Visor is the same as those or not.
Devontae, we were briefly talking about this earlier, about the option to record the streams. It's possible, and that's another thing. It's the quote of the day. It's on the roadmap. It's another thing that is on the roadmap. I was asking what people thought of the idea of us having an automatic export to Google Drive to simplify things. So, yeah, are you a fan of that? If basically it would be, you'd have 24-hour window to export the recording to Drive. Thank you, Craft Shack. I'm glad you're enjoying the group. Michael did 2 streams from the phone and actually looked really, really good. I'd love to be able to screen share. Oh yeah, Michael wants to screen share, like stream from the phone and screen share from the phone, which
Yeah.
I actually need to do some testing with. I don't know. I assume it's possible. I don't know what's possible there. We need to test that stuff. So many comments.
Just in terms of how we prioritize this stuff too, because there's a lot of kind of feature talk. It all comes back to like the 3 things Gage mentioned at the start. So like ease of use is always top of mind for us. So just to give you guys a sense of like what order we'll add things, so you can kind of get in our mindset, is like ease of use is always the most important thing for us when we're thinking about adding features. Is if it's very hard to use, or if it makes like other things harder to use, or if it's harder for newer people to get into StreamYard, then that's a big factor for us. But then obviously we want to make streams as professional as possible. So and then stability is always one of the things we spend most of our time on. So we're always like kind of balancing those things. That's how we decide on what to build next.
But that is professional.
People will really like
you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I said, but the third one is professional looking streams, but that one definitely does come after the other 2. But
yeah,
most of the stuff being talked about, it's just a matter of time. It will eventually.
Yeah.
We will eventually get to it.
But we won't ever sacrifice the other things for it. I guess
that's correct. We'll never sacrifice the other things.
Like we want to start pumping up features and suddenly it's hard to use. That's why we're careful about what order we add things in.
Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've seen some really good ones. Another one that I've seen that I thought was a really big fan of was Social Chefs. Christian that runs Social Chefs. He's got this cool background that has like different social media symbols floating in the background, and it looks really nice. I was impressed by it.
Cool.
Michael, is Reflector an app? Does it work for Android Pixel phones? Dan, you've used it more than me. It's like a desktop app, right?
Yeah, I use one called Reflector 3, and I don't know if it's just for Mac or what, but it worked quite good
for everything. But yeah, so it's if you have a Mac, you can download it on the Mac and then bring in any type of device, I think. But I believe it also works on Windows, and then yes, you'll be able to bring in Android Pixel phones.
Yeah, I thought it was really slick. I actually downloaded it because one of our users was having a problem with it, so we fixed it that way, and then fixed the issue. And then but when I was looking at Reflector 3, I was like, wow, this is pretty powerful. So I found it super easy to use.
I'm not sure why that would have been the case. We've only ever used it on Mac, so I'll need to get back to you on whether or not it works for Windows. But I thought I remember in the download process it mentioning that it worked on Windows.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Thank you, Christina. Chuck has Reflector 3. Are you a fan of Reflector 3, Chuck?
And I'm sure there's other things out there. I haven't spent much time looking at that stuff.
Amber, the past 2 streams I've done to my groups at coaching have been blurry, but speeds were fine. Any troubleshooting ideas? Yes. So I see it very often where someone will have fast internet, but they're still having issues, and it's almost always due to being on Wi-Fi and not that close to the router, or just not having a very good router, where you're basically not all the information is getting to the router, which leads to blurriness. So the easiest way to fix it, and it, like 99% of the time completely solves the problem, is just making sure you plug directly into the router and don't use Wi-Fi. And just for any techie people out there, the reason why you might notice on if you use like Facebook native from your phone, it's less important to be on Wi-Fi. It's because since we allow for having guests and things like that, we have to prioritize things being lower latency. So if you don't prioritize those things, it's easier to have bad connection, because you can sort of build things up before you send it out, but we don't have that luxury. So it's important to have a very solid connection where packets, or I guess I should say information, isn't getting lost.
Yeah, like there is a difference, I guess, between speed. Like if you go on a speed test type site and says, your internet is this fast, that's not exactly the same though as it being stable. Like it might be sending in little bursts, and that's a problem on StreamYard, just because.
Yeah, speed test won't reflect Wi-Fi, because it's like if you just lose it just tells you how fast it's going. It doesn't usually say how much of it's actually getting there. Yeah. Or it's like as long as it gets there eventually, it counts. So, Rob, how's it going? I think Rob's at VidCon right now. I hope it's going well, Rob.
Cool.
Hopefully I'm invited VidCon or Vid Summit. I think it was VidCon.
I think VidCon's right around now, so that makes sense.
If we have our logo overlay on YouTube vids, will it also apply to the one StreamYard and Restreamed? I don't think I'm fully Oh yes. So YouTube has this. I think what you're saying. YouTube has an option to put like a little watermark on your videos. I think I've never actually tried this, but I think that applies to any video you're sending to YouTube. So if you're live streaming, that will also be on the video. But I do not promise you that, because I've never actually done it. But my understanding is yes, that it will be on the video. All right, we're running late. Thank you guys for making this an awesome live stream. All the questions made it so we had tons of topics. We really appreciate that. I didn't even get to my final one, which is this summer we're going to have a huge launch, a huge release, where we're releasing some really, really exciting stuff that I think you guys will be huge fans of. It's sort of why we've been more quiet week after week, is because we're heads down on this release, but we still will be having some things we're releasing each week, so stay tuned for that. But the summer release will be exciting. Okay, just making sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, absolutely no problem at all. All right, I think I've covered mostly everything here. Thank you everyone for joining us. This was episode number 26 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Right on. See you, everyone. See you next week.